Welcome to our channel History of Coins, where we explore the hidden gems of numismatics. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare 1-cent coins, cause some of these coins are rare among collectors and are worth millions. So today, we are gonna uncover the rarest coins and their values. So make sure to watch the complete video and find out if you have one of these. Now let's continue our today's video. Top 1 today, we're diving into a story that's going to spark the interest of every collector out there, whether you're just starting your journey or you've been searching for rare coins your whole life. Imagine holding a tiny piece of copper in your hand, something so common that most people wouldn't look at it twice. Yet it could be worth a small fortune. Yes, we're talking about a humble 1-cent coin, but not just any penny. This is the legendary United States of America 1-cent coin from the year 1960. A coin so special, so unique in certain forms, that collectors around the world are hunting for it. And some are paying jaw-dropping prices to get their hands on one. At first glance, it might seem like just another Lincoln cent. It has Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front, just like millions of other coins. But here's where things get really interesting. The 1961 cent coin comes from a very unusual year in minting history. This year produced something that coin experts and collectors refer to as a small date and a large date variety. And this little difference in size has made a massive difference in value. Now, what exactly is the difference between the small date and the large date? It comes down to how the numbers in the year 1960 were engraved. In the small date version, the number 6 in 1960 appears higher and slimmer, while in the large date version, it sits lower and is broader. It may sound like a tiny detail, but for collectors, this is a huge deal. Why? Because small date coins, especially those from the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, are far more scarce than their large date siblings. But that's not all. Some of these coins also come with rare and fascinating mint errors. Imagine a 1960 penny with a doubled die. That means during the minting process, the image was struck more than once slightly out of alignment, creating a doubled effect on letters and numbers. These kinds of mistakes weren't meant to happen, but they did. And those rare accidents? They've turned a coin worth just 1 cent into a prized possession worth thousands. And here's another detail to pay attention to: the mint location. Some of the most valuable 1960 cents are the Denver minted coins marked with a little d under the date. There's even a famous variety known as the 1960 D small date over large date. A complex and exciting error that collectors go wild for. It's like a puzzle piece from history, a mistake frozen in time that makes these coins not only rare, but extremely desirable. You might be wondering, how can such a tiny error or variation make such a big difference? Well, think of it like this: rarity, condition, and demand are the 3 pillars of coin value. If a coin is hard to find, looks almost perfect, and collectors are dying to own it, the price can skyrocket. Now here's where things get really exciting. Some 1961 cent coins, particularly those with the small date error, in uncirculated or proof condition, and combined with doubling or other minting errors, have reached astonishing prices at auction. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. How much could one of these rare 1960 United States of America 1-cent coins actually be worth? If you're lucky enough to own one in the right condition, with the right error, your penny could be worth up to $79,000. That's right, $79,000. For a coin that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up. So if you've got an old coin jar lying around, or a penny that's been passed down through the family, now's the time to take a closer look. That 1 cent might just be the golden ticket you've been dreaming of. Top 2, we're talking about the only United States of America 1-cent coin from the year 1964. Now, before you toss aside that old penny, thinking it's just pocket change, listen carefully. Because if you've got the right 1-cent coin from 1964, you could be sitting on a miniature fortune. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and just how valuable this little copper coin can be. Let's start by taking a step back in time. It's 1964. The Beatles are taking over the airwaves. The civil rights movement is changing the nation, and the United States Mint is producing billions of pennies. Yes, billions with a B. In fact, 1964 was one of the highest mintage years for Lincoln cents in U.S. history. The Philadelphia and Denver mints were running full speed, trying to meet the demands of a growing, spending population. With so many coins being struck that year, you might think that none of them could be rare. But here's the twist. Some of those pennies came out of the mint with unique errors, subtle differences, and rare variations that collectors go absolutely crazy for today. So what makes a 1964 penny worth far more than 1 cent? Let's start with mint errors. During the minting process, mistakes happen. Sometimes the coin is struck off center. Other times, the die used to stamp the coin was damaged, misaligned, or even doubled. That last one? It's called a double die error, and it's one of the most sought after by collectors. It causes the numbers, letters, or even Lincoln's profile to appear slightly doubled. These doubling effects are often easiest to spot on the date or the words "In God We Trust." And when they're clear and dramatic, that penny becomes something truly special. Then, there are die cracks, clipped planchets, and wrong metal strikes. Each of these is a rare mistake that occurred during the coin's creation. And because these errors are accidental, only a tiny number of coins were affected, making them incredibly rare and highly collectible today. Another reason the 1964 penny is such a big deal has to do with its composition. These coins were still being struck in 95% copper, which gives them a classic red-brown or even deep red appearance when preserved correctly. If a 1964 penny was never circulated, stored properly, and has that gorgeous reddish hue, it's called red uncirculated, and collectors go wild for those. Coins in this condition are like snapshots frozen in time, untouched by the decades. Let's not forget the Denver Mint. If your penny has a tiny D under the date, it was minted in Denver. Some of the most intriguing errors and valuable examples have come from the Denver Mint batch. Keep your eyes peeled for those small differences that could make a huge impact. Now, imagine this. You're sorting through a box of old change, or maybe flipping through a coin album handed down by your grandparents. You pull out a 1964 Lincoln cent. You take a closer look. The color is perfect. No scratches. Then, you spot something strange, a slight doubling in the date, or a missing piece of the edge, or even a faint crack through Lincoln's head. And suddenly, you're not holding a penny. You're holding a treasure, because now, the moment you've been waiting for. Some rare 1964 1-cent coins with very specific errors in pristine, uncirculated condition have sold to collectors for as much as $76,000. That's right. $76,000 for a coin most people wouldn't think twice about. So don't let those pennies sit forgotten in jars or drawers. Every old coin tells a story, and some might just change your life. Go check your collection, inspect your change, and who knows, you might just uncover one of the rarest cents in American history. Top 3, we have something special for you. Something that's been hiding in plain sight for over 5 decades. It's a coin that many people might overlook, but for those with a sharp eye and a passion for numismatics, this small piece of copper can actually be worth a lot of money. We're talking about the United States 1-cent coin from 1970. At first glance, the 1970 penny might seem like just another coin you'd find in your pocket change. After all, the design hasn't changed much over the years. Abraham Lincoln's portrait is still there, and the familiar 1-cent stamp is as iconic as ever. But hold on. Before you toss that penny back into your jar, let's take a closer look. The 1970 penny has a story that could potentially make it worth a small fortune. So what's so special about the 1970 penny, you ask? Well, it all starts with rarity. In 1970, the U.S. Mint struck billions of pennies, but what really sets the 1970 penny apart from the others is its unique minting errors. And when it comes to rare coins, it's those little imperfections, those slight mistakes made during the minting process, that can make a coin incredibly valuable to collectors. One of the most well-known and sought-after errors in the 1970 penny is the double die obverse. If you're not familiar with what a double die is, let me break it down for you. During the minting process, the coin die is struck by a press, and if the die is not aligned properly, it strikes the coin more than once, slightly out of place. This results in a doubled image. With the 1970 penny, it's often the date and the inscriptions on the coin that show this doubling. This type of error can drastically increase the value of the coin. Imagine holding a penny that's supposed to be worth just 1 cent, but has a mistake that makes it so much more desirable to collectors. If you happen to find a double die obverse 1970 penny in excellent condition, you're in luck. These coins are extremely rare, and the higher the quality of the coin, the higher the price. But that's not the only thing to look out for. Another reason the 1970 penny is valuable is its metal composition. The penny from this year, much like those from the years before it, was made of 95% copper and only 5% zinc. However, There's an important distinction to make here. The 1970 penny was the last year the U.S. Mint produced coins with this copper composition before transitioning to a zinc-based alloy in 1982. This makes the 1970 penny even more special in the eyes of collectors who value the copper versions of the coin. As we dive deeper into the world of mint errors, let's not forget the clipped planchet and off-center strikes that can occur during the minting process. These are mistakes that leave the coin with a unique shape or missing parts, making it stand out from the rest. A clipped planchet can occur when a small portion of the coin's metal planchet is missing before it's struck by the die, while an off-center strike happens when the coin isn't properly aligned with the die, resulting in a design that's partially off the edge of the coin. These types of errors are rare and highly collectible, and the value of the coin increases significantly based on the severity of the error. So, you're probably wondering by now, just how much can a 1970 penny be worth? Well, as you can imagine, it all depends on the condition of the coin and the type of error it has. If you come across a double die obverse 1970 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, you might be in for a huge surprise. Now, hold on to your hats, because here comes the exciting part. A 1970 penny with the right double die error or other rare minting issues has been known to sell for as much as $73,000. That's right, $73,000 for a single penny. It's a price that most people would never expect for a coin that's worth just 1 cent on its own. But for collectors, it's the rare errors and the historical significance that make this penny so valuable. So before you toss that 1970 penny aside, take a moment to inspect it closely. Look for doubling, check for off-center strikes, and pay attention to the condition of the coin. If you happen to find one of these rare treasures, you could be holding on to something far more valuable than you ever imagined. Top 4, we have a story that might just change the way you look at everyday pennies. You see, sometimes the most common coins hold the biggest secrets. And today, we're going to uncover one of those secrets, the United States 1-cent coin from 1977. At first glance, a 1977 penny might not seem all that exciting. After all, it's just another coin with Abraham Lincoln's face and the year stamped on it, right? But let me tell you, this small, seemingly ordinary penny has the potential to be worth a small fortune. And if you think that all pennies are the same, think again. There's more to this coin than meets the EY.SO. What makes the 1977 penny so special? It all comes down to rarity and minting errors. In 1977, the U.S. Mint produced a huge number of pennies, just like every other year. But, as with any mass production, small errors can slip through the cracks. And it's those very errors that make this coin so valuable to collectors. One of the main things collectors are on the lookout for with the 1977 penny is a double die error. This is one of the most sought-after mistakes in the coin world. What happens with a double die error is that the coin is struck twice by the die, but the second strike is slightly misaligned. This results in a doubled image, often seen in the date or the inscriptions. With the 1977 penny, the doubling is often visible on the 7 in the date or the words, "In God We Trust," around Lincoln's portrait. And why does this make the coin so valuable? Well, because double die errors are rare and collectors love them. The more pronounced the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. It's a unique error that turns a regular penny into a much-desired collectible item. So, if you have a 1977 penny with noticeable doubling, you're sitting on something special, but that's not the only thing that could make this coin valuable. Some 1977 pennies also exhibit off-center strikes. This error occurs when the blank planchet, or the metal disc before it's stamped with the design, isn't properly aligned with the die. As a result, the design gets struck off-center, and part of the image or text gets cut off. These types of coins are very appealing to collectors because of their unique and unusual appearance. And again, the more dramatic the off-center strike, the higher the coin's value. Then, there are clipped planchets, another type of minting error that can make a 1977 penny worth a lot more than 1 cent. A clipped planchet happens when the metal blank used for the coin is accidentally cut in an irregular shape before being struck. This can leave a piece of the coin missing, giving it an unmistakable shape and making it a true rarity. Coins with clipped planchets are highly collectible, and in some cases, they can fetch an impressive price. Now, let's talk about condition. Condition is everything when it comes to rare coins. A 1977 penny in poor condition might not be worth much more than a regular penny, even if it has a minting error. But a 1977 penny in excellent condition, especially one with a well-defined double die error or other significant flaws, can be worth far more. Coins that are well preserved, with minimal wear, are always in high demand among collectors. These are the coins that can reach impressive prices when they hit the auction block. At this point, you're probably wondering just how much a 1977 penny could actually be worth. If you happen to find one of these rare coins, especially one with a double die error or other minting flaw, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars. And now, here's the big reveal. A 1977 penny, with the right errors and in the right condition, has been known to sell for as much as $70,000. That's right, $70,000 for a single penny. It's an amount most people would never think could be possible for a coin that's worth just 1 cent in normal circumstances. But when it comes to rare minting errors, rarity, and collector demand, that tiny penny can become a valuable treasure. So, the next time you come across a 1977 penny, take a moment to really look at it. Inspect the date, check for any doubled images, and examine the edges carefully. Look for any signs of unusual minting errors. If you've got an exceptional coin in your hands, you could be holding on to something far more valuable than you ever imagined. Top 5, we're diving into something that might seem like just another penny to many, but trust me, if you take a closer look, you could be holding on to something worth a small fortune. We're talking about the United States 1 cent coin from 1980. At first glance, this coin might not stand out. After all, it's a penny, and there are plenty of those in circulation. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll realize that the 1980 penny actually has a lot more going for it than most people realize. In fact, this penny has some rare qualities that can make it incredibly valuable, especially for collectors. If you're a coin enthusiast, listen up, because this could change the way you view those old coins you find in your spare change. So, why is the 1980 penny so special? To start, it has to do with errors, the kind of minting mistakes that make coins so interesting and valuable. You see, during the minting process, sometimes things don't go exactly as planned. Dies can be misaligned, or the coins can be struck with double impressions, and these little imperfections turn an ordinary penny into a rare collector's item. One of the most common errors you'll find with the 1980 penny is the double die error. This is one of the most exciting types of errors for coin collectors. What happens is, the die used to strike the coin gets misaligned and strikes the coin twice, leaving behind a doubled image. You'll often see this on the date, and sometimes on the words around Abraham Lincoln's portrait. This doubling can be subtle or more obvious, and the more pronounced the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. Imagine finding a 1980 penny with a double die error. That's not just a normal penny anymore. That could be a key to unlocking a huge treasure. The value of such a coin could skyrocket, especially if it's in uncirculated condition, which we'll get to in just a moment. But wait, that's not all. In addition to double die errors, another major factor that makes the 1980 penny unique is its metal composition. Up until 1982, the U.S. Mint was still making pennies primarily from 95% copper. After that, the composition changed, making the copper pennies from 1980 much more desirable to collectors who seek out coins made of this higher quality material. If your 1980 penny has been preserved in great condition and retains its classic copper look, it can be a truly valuable find. Next, we have to talk about other minting errors like off-center strikes and clipped planchets. These occur when the metal blank, or planchet, that the coin is struck onto is misaligned or not properly centered, resulting in a coin that looks slightly off or has a chunk missing from the edge. These errors are rare and make a coin stand out from the rest. The more dramatic the error, the more money it could be worth. A 1980 penny with an off-center strike or clipped planchet could be worth a lot more than you might think, especially if it's in good condition. Now, let's talk about condition. We all know that condition plays a huge role in a coin's value, and the 1980 penny is no exception. A coin that's been in circulation for years will naturally show wear and tear, scratches, fading, and even some discoloration. But if you happen to come across a 1980 penny that looks practically brand new, well, you're holding a rare gem. A coin in mint state, meaning it shows no signs of wear and has great eye appeal, is always in demand. So, what's the big payoff for finding a rare 1980 penny with the right errors or in pristine condition? Well, you could be looking at a coin worth much more than just 1 cent. Some rare 1980 pennies, especially those with noticeable minting errors like a double die or off-center strike, have been known to sell for as much as $67,000. That's right, $67,000 for a coin that most people would overlook as just another penny. It's amazing how something so small can hold such big value. If you're a collector or even just someone who stumbled upon an old stash of coins, make sure to give those 1980 pennies a closer look. With the right error or in the right condition, that small piece of copper could be worth far more than you ever imagined. So, before you toss that penny back into your change jar or pocket, give it a thorough examination. Look for double dates, check the edges for any signs of minting errors, and pay attention to the overall condition of the coin. If you've got an extraordinary 1980 penny in your collection, you might just be holding a valuable piece of history.